It is Sunday the 15th of September 2019. I'm in front of the Lakeshore Unitarian Universalist Church in Lachine, directly across from what used to be Lachine High School, and I believe now is called Lakeshore Academy or something like that. I used to go to high school here, so I'm somewhat nostalgic across from where I used to go to high school. And we're probably wrapping up this protest. I've already got a few video clips, including one that just ended, where we were talking about essentially Unitarian Universalist perversion of justice in the form of making false reports to the police about my behavior. We were specifically talking about how on two occasions, one I believe in 2010, if I'm not mistaken, and another in 2014, where I was falsely accused by a Montreal Unitarian, or two or three, of assaulting a woman in front of the Unitarian Church in Montreal. So there was an incident in 2010 where I was falsely accused of assault, and then another one in 2014. And I already explained it in the previous clip, so I may not repeat it. But essentially on two different occasions, a Unitarian Universalist woman and or an accomplice reported to the SPVM in a 911 call that a woman, either herself or another person, had been assaulted by me outside the Unitarian Church in Montreal. On both occasions, SPVM police officers came to the church and basically accused me of that, or at least said I had been accused of that. In the first instance, in 2010, it was actually in the evening. I was protesting at a special event that the Unitarian Church of Montreal was holding in the evening, and I remember this police car coming at very high speed with the flashers on, and then doing a U-turn in the street right in front of me at high speed, basically as if there was like some big emergency going on. It was a female police officer who got out, and basically I was being told that I'd been accused of assaulting a woman, and no such thing had happened. I haven't so much just touched a human being that night. There was someone who came by with a dog, and the dog flipped on its side. It wanted a belly rub. I gave a dog a belly rub. That's the only creature that I touched that night. And I actually explained this to the police officers. A few others showed up. I think in all there was at least 3 police officers answered the call. There was the female police officer, there was another male officer, and then I think there was even a third male police officer who were investigating this claim that I'd assaulted someone. And I explained everything to them, and they were actually quite good. The female police officer was very good. One of the male police officers was very good. The other one was a bit down on me, kind of thing, like he basically thought I was guilty, or at least that I shouldn't be protesting or whatever. And yes, this was following having been subjected to a peace order on the basis of basically false claims made by Reverend Diane Rowlett and other Montreal Unitarians. So this was after I'd been subjected to a peace order for a year, but had returned and resumed my protest. So I think that was part of the issue with this male police officer, you know. And it was, and in fact, I do believe that call in 2010 was part of an effort by the church to reimpose a peace order on me. But I was able to basically make it clear to police that no, you know, I literally hadn't so much as touched a human being that night during my protest. The only creature I touched was a dog. They did a pretty thorough investigation. They spoke to church members, and they dropped it. Then in 2014, same kind of thing, although this was actually worse, because I'd actually been assaulted by Margot Ellis about an hour earlier. I was protesting outside the church. I will repeat it briefly. So basically, in short, Margot Ellis assaulted me with a body check while I was protesting outside the Unitarian Church of Montreal on the first Sunday in January of 2014. And then as I was leaving, ready to go, police showed up, and I was being accused of assaulting a woman. So the exact opposite of what really happened. I was actually assaulted by the woman. I had video evidence of assault by a woman because I was basically protesting with my camera running. It was on me. It was like a body cam, and it filmed Margot Ellis approaching me, giving me an elbow that knocked me on my feet. So I had video evidence of her assault on me and how I responded to it. And yes, I did use the B word to describe her. Just as an automatic response to being assaulted by her. And then I probably, in part, to prevent me from accusing her of assault, but I think also just to try and get me accused of a crime so that conditions could be placed on me, Margot Ellis and or an accomplice from the Unitarian Church of Montreal called in a complaint to the SPVM accusing me of assaulting a woman in front of the church, when that absolutely did not happen, and the exact opposite happened. This is perversion of justice. This is an abusive misuse of the SPVM police force by Margot Ellis and or other Montreal Unitarians, and it's not the first one, and it's not the last one, and in fact we're dealing with the fallout from a false report of criminal harassment by Montreal Unitarian clergy abuse cover-up enabler Sue Montgomery, who managed to get herself elected as the mayor of Côte-des-Neiges Notre-Dame-de-Grâce, and basically about a month after being elected, a month to the day after being elected as the mayor of Côte-des-Neiges Notre-Dame-de-Grâce, and about a week and a half after being appointed the deputy mayor of Montreal by, or maybe 2 weeks after, by Valérie Plante, Sue Montgomery filed a complaint against me for alleged criminal harassment, alleged stalking, and I was arrested for alleged criminal harassment when I showed up at the next Montreal City Council meeting to ask a question on December 11th. And so since December 11th of 2017, I've been dealing with that false accusation of criminal harassment. I was finally acquitted of that charge back in June, I believe June 13th, if I'm not mistaken. Judge Flavia Longo found that Sue Montgomery did not have any fear of me, and that this was clear in video evidence of Sue Montgomery coming to the Unitarian Church of Montreal and going out of her way to confront me and provoke me, kicking my picket signs into the street, and so on. Like, there was video of evidence of Sue Montgomery being totally, completely fearless, and not just being fearless, but being deliberately provocative, you know, trying to provoke me into some kind of reaction. So when Judge Longo saw this video evidence, she ruled that what I just said. She basically ruled that there was no fear, no visible fear on the part of Sue Montgomery in that incident, and on top of that, she said that it looked like she was trying to provoke me. And so that basically caused the acquittal. I mean, there are other things. I think I wouldn't have been convicted anyway. There's other elements that would have had to be proven beyond reasonable doubt, but the fact that Sue Montgomery showed no fear in this video and even sought confrontation with me, sought to provoke me, that was enough for Judge Flavia Longo to decide that Sue Montgomery did not have any fear of me, as she claimed. And I agree. I mean, I've never seen Sue Montgomery show any fear of me in the sense of me physically attacking her. And she's even said that she doesn't fear a physical attack on her by me in the past, although now she's trying to pretend that I'm some dangerous stalker, that I might be a mass murderer, you know, I might come and shoot a whole bunch of people up. You know, she's now trying to pretend that I'm a potential Marc Lapin or Richard Bain or one or two other mass killer types, or attempted mass killer types. So she changed her tune a little bit. But nonetheless, Sue Montgomery, in terms of real life interactions with her, has never shown any fear of me in the sense of me physically attacking her. And she's actually told people in not too distant past that she does not fear a physical attack on her. But now she's changed her tune. Now she's trying to pretend that I'm a dangerous stalker, that I'm going to physically attack her, maybe even murder her. Total bullshit. I mean, it might be an actual delusion she suffers from, might be an actual genuine bona fide paranoid delusion on the part of Sue Montgomery, but it's not based on anything I've said or done in terms of being threatening or anything, and quite frankly I think she's lying. I don't really believe her claims. I think she's lying because she has to claim to be afraid of me in order to have me charged with criminal harassment. If there's no fear, there's no criminal harassment. It's that simple. So I think she falsely claimed to fear for her personal safety because it was necessary to get me arrested for criminal harassment so that court conditions could be placed on me, which A, prevented me from going to city council meetings to ask questions about her complicity in Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse cover-up efforts, and B, prevented me from protesting outside the Unitarian Church of Montreal. As far as I'm concerned, the whole criminal harassment accusation was largely, not exclusively, but majoritively about placing court conditions on me. Whether I was convicted or not, it was all about placing court conditions on me very rapidly for a period that would be measured in months and possibly even years, depending on when things went to trial. That's what it was all about. And unfortunately, we're still under court conditions because although I was acquitted of the criminal harassment charge, I was found guilty of a breach of conditions because I asked Montreal Mayor Valerie Plante a question about Sue Montgomery's bad behavior, which I just described. She came to the church while I was protesting on March 18th of 2018 after my conditions had been reduced to allow me to resume my protest. Sue Montgomery came very deliberately to the Unitarian Church of Montreal, deliberately provoked me, kicked my picket signs into the street repeatedly, threw them into the street even after I picked them up and put them back, and so on. So when Judge Longo saw this in the video, that was game over as far as getting me convicted of criminal harassment. Should have been game over anyway. Even if that video didn't exist, even if that incident had never happened, which clearly showed a lack of fear on the part of Sue Montgomery, there were other elements of evidence which should have shown that she didn't really fear for her safety, such as various statements that she made about not being afraid for her safety in general, and also specifically in terms of me physically attacking her, and other evidence. And then there's the whole element of, are there reasonable grounds for fear? So even if she actually does have fear, even if she suffers from paranoid delusions, does she have reasonable grounds for that fear? Have I said or done things that can cause her to reasonably fear for her safety? And quite frankly, she doesn't. Not in terms of a physical attack on her. What she does have reason to fear is that the truth about her complicity in Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse cover-up efforts will become known. She has fear for that. That's why she's trying to silence me. That's why she's trying to shut me up. Because if it comes to be known and widely believed by the public that the mayor of Côte-des-Neiges Notre-Dame-de-Grâce essentially has misused her power and influence to hide or help to hide Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse, including bringing a false criminal harassment charge against me, that might not help her career as a politician, shall we say. So that's what Sue's really afraid of. Is quite frankly very stupid and foolish for her to even bring that charge against me. There were many other things she could have done to resolve the situation. She made it multiple factors worse than it was prior to my being arrested on December 11th. It's far, far worse for her now and me, but you know, I'm still here. I'm still protesting at a different church and so on. You know, my rights have been suppressed and repressed. There's things I can't do or say that I should be able to do or say as a result of Sue Montgomery's false accusation of criminal harassment against me. But I can still say quite a lot and do quite a lot, and I'm doing it. Whereas, if she had sought mediation, sought dialogue, and so on with me back in December 2017, to say nothing of earlier, this whole thing might have been resolved by now. But as it is, this is going to go on for years. She's actually appealing the acquittal. And she somehow convinced the Crown to file for an appeal of the acquittal. So that could be interesting. And I'm appealing the breach of conditions verdict. I'm also appealing the sentence that was handed down, which is quite harsh. I just want to make sure this thing's still running. Yes, it is, and there's still a fair bit of time left. So yeah, getting back to the perversion of justice, which is Sue Montgomery's false criminal harassment accusation against me and related perversions of justice. Basically, at this point in time, I have court conditions which prevent me from being near the Unitarian Church of Montreal, which is why I'm here. Although I could be other places. In the past, I've always held in reserve the possibility of protesting in front of other churches of other denominations, most specifically Catholic, but also others, Anglican, and basically saying, hey, it's not just the Catholics, Unitarian Universalists have clergy abuse too. So essentially raising awareness, not just the Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse cover-up, but yeah, reminding people, not that they need to be reminded, that the Catholic Church has a clergy abuse problem too. I don't see a whole lot of Catholics protesting Catholic clergy abuse in front of Catholic churches. And it's not really necessary in one sense, in that it's very well known now, and it is being dealt with, at least to some extent. You know, there's still cover-up attempts, there's still attempts to silence victims and so on. There's still not enough justice and so on. But nonetheless, it's out in the open. You know, it's not something that's concealed and hidden and people don't know about, which is much the case with the Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse. So that's something I've always held in reserve. Because Montreal Unitarians have tried to shut down my protest in front of the Unitarian Church of Montreal in the past, because they're even successful in doing so for 1 year in the past, I always held in reserve protesting in front of non-Unitarian churches, and that may well happen. But in the meantime, I'll be protesting in front of the Lakeshore Unitarian Universalist Church probably around 2 Sundays a month.